This is Superyacht News, in association with Go Earth Boating, navigating boat buyers to better deals. Hi, welcome back to the channel. So we've got a story in here of a superyacht in Kenya, which is kind of unusual. I'll prepare for some top-level butchering of names here as I try and repeat some Kenyan names. Now, the superyacht that was detained was called Motor Yacht Salt, formerly known as Voice. It's a 61-meter yacht, and it was down in Kenya, in Kilifi in Kenya. Now, got some footage on screen here. This was actually sent in by a subscriber who was super excited to finally be able to send something in for the yacht spot, but it turns out it became a story in itself, so we're going to use his footage. Now, the Kilifi County Commissioner, Joseph Biwott, said that the four-deck yacht, Motor Yacht Salt, was detained along with 6 foreign tourists who have yet to disembark. So the vessel was in Kenya, it was anchored in Kenya, and the vessel was actually detained. And Biwott said that the marine security officers discovered weapons inside the yacht as well, firearms. And they said, although they said they were confirmed to be legally owned by the vessel's operators, he said the yacht is okay, it has no illegal drugs on board or weapons, illegal weapons. And the only issue was that it lacked the clearance to dock in the country. And we talked about this in recent videos with the Bahamas, when the man was arrested in the Bahamas, and I talked about how yachts require to have clearance. He said, and he goes on to say that all foreign yachts must undergo a multi-agency clearance process and obtain electronic travel authorization, port entry, and advance notice before docking in Kenya. That's pretty standard. I don't know of any port where you can just turn up and dock like that. So when the vessel arrived, speculation had gone around social media, local social media in Kenya, and the people were saying that they wondered why the vessel hadn't docked and why the occupants of the vessel had just stayed on board. Obviously, they're not accustomed to having superyachts in the area. The Biwott said that he's the county commissioner. He said that the weapons were there for protection. And he said, how would they defend themselves if pirates attacked them at sea? Now, we get a lot of comments like that when people are talking about yachts in other areas. Now, this is a very legitimate area for having weapons on board, right? It's south of Somalia. So, yeah, you definitely want to have a security team on board when you're heading down that area. I would imagine that the weapons were most likely, they probably had a security team on board as well as the crew to protect, and those weapons were there for that purpose. That's speculation because I don't have any information to back that up, but that's what I suspect, because most yacht crew are not proficient with firearms, right? So the Tourism Police Unit Sector Commander for the coast region, Patricia Burry, said that the yacht is from Dubai and carries people of different nationalities. And she said that this signifies growth and development as the port area is opening up for more business. So they're happy to have superyachts in the area, and obviously they want to not cause any trouble to make it to be the last yacht, right? Because they don't generally get a lot of yachts in that area. So, but effectively, the people were there to go on a safari to Masai Mara, I believe it's pronounced. I don't know how they were planning to get from there to the nature reserve because it's quite far away. Potentially going on a helicopter, maybe flying them to the airport. I don't know, but it doesn't specify that in the story. But the vessel was detained whilst they did those checks. Strangely, that the vessel didn't get clearance to be in that area. The area that you can see in the video footage here is the yacht is at anchor in this area. Maybe they thought that they didn't require it. Maybe the charts are not specific enough. I don't know. But it's interesting to see that the vessel was there. Now, the yacht itself, like I said, Motor Yacht Salt, formerly called Voice, was built by CRN Yachts in 2020. It's a 1,300 gross ton yacht, can carry 12 guests in 6 cabins. Like I said, it's a 61-meter yacht, 203 foot. So anyway, happy ending there, I guess. Nobody got arrested. So we'll move on. We've got a news update on Derek Wacob. This is a story we did in October. You might remember we talked about a 32-meter or 105-foot yacht being seized in Florida following a federal court order tied to a multi-million-dollar legal dispute.
Please
Well, the owner of that yacht has now been seized himself. He's been arrested for a federal wire fraud charges. Wire fraud charges. And this was out of Sapulpa, Oklahoma. I believe last time I said that Sapulpa was in Florida. That's because the yacht was in Florida. I got a little bit mixed up there. Apologies for that. But anyway, the indictments on Derek Wacob said that he defrauded investors, businesses, and even close personal friends of over $66 million from a period of 2022 to 2024. The suit says that the 53-year-old promised future business deals with the steel pipe company Paragon Industries, I believe they're called, and in exchange for money, instead Wacob used the money to buy things like yachts, vacation homes, helicopters, and more. Federal agents surrounded Wacob's property, a sprawling property, just west of Paragon Industries on West Avenue in Sapulpa. They went into the property, arresting him and taking him away. Now, in a statement, the U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton said that Derek Wacob claimed to be a billionaire and successful CEO, but as alleged, the image was built on lies. Paragon Industries had filed for bankruptcy in early 2025 and had multiple lawsuits already filed against them, totaling hundreds of millions of dollars. The indictment says Wacob must forfeit all assets claimed from the fraudulent money, and if convicted, could serve as much as 20 years in federal prison. I guess G3 Auctions are going to have a yacht up for sale soon. They seem to always end up with those yachts, right? All right, so we'll move on. We've got one more story. This is from Boat International, actually. They say Burgess has been acquired by a private investment company, Burgess Yachts, this is the yacht management company and brokerage. The investment company's name is Ancient, and they're a private equity investment firm and a long-term investor in specialty finance and services. The article goes on to say that the new partnership is intended to further the brokerage firm's position in the industry while simultaneously broadening an Ancient portfolio, obviously Ancient the company, of specialized service-intensive business for ultra-high net worth individuals, whatever that means. Partnering with Ancient gives Burgess the resources, sale, and creativity we want to accelerate our leadership position in the industry without compromising our independence or culture, Burgess CEO Jonathan Beckett explained. Well, it's good news, a big influx of money, I guess. Let's hope the new investment means that Burgess will pay the money to the crew of the two superyachts Alfa Nero and Luminosity. If we go back to 2022, you might remember they had to cease working for the yachts owned by Andrei Guriev, Motia Alfa Nero and Luminosity. They had to cease all contact. They sent out a message saying that the person who was in charge of Luminosity had to send an email, which we showed at the time, saying we can't deal with you anymore because of the sanctions. They had to apply for a license to pay the crew their final salaries. Then we kept asking them what's happening with the license. 2 years later, they finally said, we finally got the license, we're going to pay them. Then there was another period of no payments, and then they told us that there was a problem with the bank. They didn't want to receive the money from because they knew where it was coming from, even though they had the license, and they had to go and try and figure out how to pay. And then it all went quiet. We've had no communications with Burgess since then, and they're now a defendant in a lawsuit against the yacht for the non-payment for the crew. There's lawyers representing the crew are suing for that money. So now that they've got all this influx of cash, I assume that the investment company knew about this ongoing legal issues when they purchased them or when they acquired them, or however you want to say it. It says acquired and then it says it's a merger. So, but anyway, I just hope that they're going to pay and settle this thing and pay the crew what they're owed. You know, they worked for the yacht, and 4 years later they're still waiting for their final salaries, which is quite outrageous. So if they've got more money coming in, I don't know whether that's the reason why they never paid it, but whatever reason it can be, I hope they will finally settle this outstanding money. All right, guys, I'll leave it there. I just got one thing. Somebody sent us some information about Amadea, and they sent it from an email that you can't reply to. If you could get in touch, please. We want to know the source of this information. We don't want to say it until we know we've got an idea where it came from. So if you could get in touch, that would be great. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to join us on patreon.com/eSysman if you want to see behind the scenes stuff. We talked about some of the stories here today. We talked a little bit about Amadea as well today as well. So yeah, if you want to check that out, check it out, patreon.com/eSysman. If you've got any information about any stories that we've done here today or any others, including the whereabouts of Amadea, please be sure to get in touch with the email below. If you've got photos or videos, send it to the link there that's also in the description of the video as well. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.